again, everyone. Welcome to part 3 of Redesigning your OCs, where I take your Wings of Fire OCs and convert them into independent characters. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 yet, you can do so with the links in the description. Let's get started! First up on the chopping block is, of course, a sandwing. This is Sunstone, a glass blower who lived just outside the town of Possibility. She's excitable and outgoing with a passion for crafting. She has a twin sister that was separated from her in a divorce with their parents. Let's see what we can do with her design. I decided to go with a wyvern this time around, making her small and slender. I wanted her wings to be the main focal point, just like in her ref sheet. Since she's a glass blower, I incorporated the idea of floral stained glass inside the look. I imagined her being simplistic yet stunning. Dragoness you'd have to look twice at. I noticed partway through the sketch that while her wings were gorgeous, the rest of her seemed kind of plain and outdone by the detail in the wings. So I decided to add a couple extra features. I incorporated fins along her neck and an elegant tail piece that resembled vines. I kept all of her features soft and delicate, since I was going for a floral nature aesthetic. And, like many beautiful flowers in nature, I wanted her to be vibrant and eye-catching. I loved her original color palette, and I wanted to include that in the final design. Next, I started focusing on the wings. I wanted them to resemble stained glass, and originally tried to make them slightly transparent. I decided to just blend the colors for an ombre effect in the end. I then used the pink fade on the wings to tie in the other features, such as the tail. I felt like this helped to make it look like a more completed design. I still felt like the wings needed something a little extra, so I decided to put a background on this piece. I used the sun's rays to make the features glow, turning her brilliant colored wings into giant sun catchers and highlighting her tail. After I was happy with the effect, it was on to shading and making everything pop. I decided to add small scales and highlighted bits to make everything look more complete. I then went with a dark, reclusive background. I think it helped make her stand out and look like a beautiful gem in the rough. I really liked the end result of this redesign, and I was happy to reform this character. I really hope her new owner enjoys her as well. As for our next subject, we have an Ice/Nightwing hybrid. Moonglobe is obsessed with astrology. She was hatched in the Ice Kingdom, but was quickly tossed away after birth for being a hybrid. She was later adopted by an Icewing from Possibility and raised as such. Let's see her redesign. I am really excited for this one. Now, this character's design quickly caught my attention because of her Pluto-themed pouch. However, if you're anything like me, that is not what you saw at first glance. I genuinely thought that was a giant eyeball hanging from her waist. But once I read the description, I understood what it was. However, I was now inspired, so this character is going to be a unique one. So, as always, we remove the ears first, and then get sketching. I had a few different ideas for this character. I knew I wanted little floaty bits, and I couldn't make up my mind on a face shape. In the end, it all sort of worked out, but the initial design, I'll admit, was pretty dang messy. Eventually, I ended up doing eyeballs all over the body, because you can't have too many eyeballs, right? Anyways, this girl ended up getting a blindfold and floaty feathered appendages. I mean, she doesn't need to see if her whole body is made of ice. Plus, she'll never be able to be snuck up on, because she has an eye in her tail, and floating eyes. Anyways, I think this idea took the whole eyes in the back of your head quote way too literally, and I love it. Anywho, I kept the color palette as usual and just changed up a few bits. And yes, if you're wondering, she does only have 2 claws. Or talons, as you Wings of Fire people would call it. I also made a background for this one since I did it for the first one and I thought it was only fair. Plus, I got some practice in, and I'm terrible at backgrounds, so practice is always great. So she gets put in a dark cave with an underground river. And I thought it looked kind of cool. Now that everything is set, it was just time for some shading, lighting, and details. This one did take me quite a bit of time, as I had some trouble with how exactly to drape the shadows over this character. It took me a few attempts, but in the end, I think I did get it to make somewhat sense. Overall, it worked out, and I was happy with the final result. I haven't created a backstory for this one, so I'm curious to see what her owner decides to do with her. Let me know what you guys think would be a cool backstory in the comments. I would love to see the suggestions. I really hope her new owner enjoys her. I loved making this one probably a little too much, and I think the design transferred over well, so I'm pretty happy with the result. Our last victim for today is a Skywing. This is Torch. They are a tattoo artist born on the outskirts of the Sky Kingdom. Eventually, after a run-in with Queen Scarlet, they were able to open up their own tattoo shop called Torch's Tattooery. Let's see what I can come up with here. Alright, so as per usual, as the meme goes, we chop off the ears first. For this one, I decided to go with a noodle dragon. I liked the idea of a dragon as a tattoo artist, and I had to think a little bit about what that would look like and also how it would work. I'd imagine, since most tattoo artists have tattoos themselves, that a dragon with a lot of surface area would make the best match for this design. Hence me going with the Eastern dragon in the first place. I'm not sure how tattoos would even work on dragons, since they have scales and nowhere to place ink that would actually show up. So I had to get a little creative with what exactly a dragon tattoo would actually look like. I imagine them using some kind of stain, like soot or berry juice, something that would stick to scales and wouldn't be permanent. I figured some kind of ash or maybe coal would look best, and I incorporated that into their design. I wanted cool lighting to show off the tats I was planning for this character, but holy heck was shading this thing a nightmare. There were so many little spots I had to fill in detail. I think of the redesigns for this batch, this one was probably the one that took the longest. Especially because each of the tattoos I made for this character were unique and hand-drawn. But nevertheless, I still enjoyed the process and had a lot of fun making up these different designs. My Discord server was also very helpful, and they helped me come up with different ideas for tattoos. But even they weren't enough, and at some points I just resorted to doodling something random, and it kinda just worked out. As for the background on this drawing, I really struggled. I wanted a background since, again, the other two drawings had backgrounds, and I felt it was only fair, but I really didn't have any ideas for this one. I had to mess around with the same colors that were in the family as the character, and work around from there. Eventually, I came up with this sort of autumn sunset tree scene, and it kind of worked out in the end, so I hope it looks alright to you guys, but I don't know. Overall, I had fun with this concept, and I hope Torch's new owner likes this redesign. And I also hope all of you enjoyed watching the process of these characters. This will probably be one of my last redesign videos, as they're getting very stale in my opinion. I may still do these types of videos in the future, but I might have to switch it up again. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching and supporting me and my work, and I hope to see you all in future videos. Take care.